20 Indian soldiers have fallen, killed in action, combating Chinese soldiers at the line of actual control. That's a top focus story. This is news that's just coming in. 20 braves of the Indian Army of the Bihar Regiment, led by their commanding officer, Colonel Babu, they were killed in action. So the Chinese soldiers, we are told, they were to retreat from Patrol Point 14. That was the agreement at the level of commanders. The Chinese agreed and then they stabbed India in the back. That's a top focus story. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's news director Rahul Kawal, who's joining us with more on the story. Rahul, you are breaking this big and a very disturbing story. Rahul, we've lost 20 braves at the line of control in Ladakh.
Well, first and foremost, there was so much of a delay because the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the Defence Minister and the External Affairs Minister and the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defence Staff are monitoring the situation even at this moment. We've been able to piece together some information which we want to break on your show, Gaurav, about what really happened. This map gives a broad sense of the geography and the topography at play. I'll explain what's happening. This is the area where the Galwan River meets with the Shyok River. This is the Daulat Beg Oldie Road, the DSDBO road. So what happened last night is that the Chinese had promised that they would start disengaging and going back from Galwan Flashpoint PP14. PP14 means Patrol Point 14. The Chinese in the Lieutenant General level talks that happened on the 6th of June between our Lieutenant General and their Major General had promised that they would start disengaging. So a small verification platoon from the Indian Army, the 6th Bihar Regiment, actually took off from our positions to see whether the Chinese had disengaged from this point PP14. This is where the Chinese came from. This is the PLA Huation Bay, which is where their battalion is located, and there are two Chinese posts. Now there is this tarred road using which in the end of April and early May the Chinese had come in. So when the Indian Army went up to see whether the Chinese had gone back, and I just want to go to the next map to show this to your viewers, Gaurav. It was found that the Chinese army was still there at PP14, contrary to the promise that had been made. That's when the Indian Army boys asked the Chinese that why haven't you gone back? And suddenly and very quickly things led to a violent escalatory spiral, and there were fisticuffs. We were outnumbered 3-1, and then we asked for reinforcements to be brought in. There was an exchange, not of fire but of barbed wires, poles, rods, all kinds of stuff went down, and it went on for about 4 hours, during which some soldiers fell off. So there were some dead bodies that were lying there. The Indian commanding officers were badly beaten, and some soldiers fell off the ridge into the river. And from what we're told, the Chinese have also lost some soldiers, and some of those bodies they apprehended had actually come down the Galwan River towards the Indian side. So that broadly, Gaurav, is what we've been able to piece together. We're told that the toll could actually go up. 20 is the confirmation they have. Some bodies actually went in and some are still being traced and identified. The toll unfortunately could go up. This is really a worst case scenario playing out between not just the two most populous countries in the world, but also two nuclear armed neighbors. Gaurav.
Rahul, we have the bravest soldiers. You and I know that for a fact. We trusted the Chinese. They said they will withdraw. We just sent a verification team and they attacked the verification team and reinforcements came in. Rahul, is it true that our reinforcements also quickly fetched up, and that is where the real fight started? Colonel Babu was trying to ensure that the scuffle does not go out of hand. The Chinese started hitting us with clubs, with iron nails studded in them. It escalated. Apparently there have been major fatalities and casualties on the Chinese side, Rahul.
The Chinese haven't put out their toll. Their claim is that we're trying to de-escalate. I don't see how that's the case. De-escalation would have required them to pull back. You're absolutely right. As a verification patrol party went up, they found that the Chinese were locked there. Reinforcements were called in. Reinforcements came up really quickly. And remember, and you can pretty much see it over here, it's a very, very narrow ledge. So that's where if you've got 200 boys very angry with each other, coming to blows, and you're on a narrow ledge, it's a problematic situation to be in, which is when some boys fell into the river. And Galwan, as you know, is not just a narrow river, it's a very fast-flowing river, and that's part of the problem. So we know that some of the injured boys have been taken to the Lev military hospital and are being treated over there. And yes, the army gave as good as it got, but the Chinese have been very treacherous. After agreeing on a disengagement, which the army and the government believed in, they refused to pull back, and that's the problem here, Gaurav. They've built up positions, and I want to show you on this map. Just 1 second, bear with me. The Chinese had promised that they would pull back to the Chinese post 1 and 2 along the Galwan River, that they'd come back to where they came from, and they've refused to do that, which is what led to this violent skirmish, which proved so fatal along the line of actual control. Gaurav.
Rahul, for the moment, many thanks for joining me, Rahul. We will get more details and more information that's just filtering in. The Chinese have had more than 40 casualties, is the information that is just coming in on the broadcast. So the Indians gave it as good as we got, and with interest to the Chinese, and that is something that the Chinese would well know. India is not looking for a fight. India wants peace, but peace does not mean that the Chinese will walk all over Indian territory anymore. 2020, this is unacceptable, and that's a very clear message that's gone out from the Indian Army, from our braves on ground, and from the leadership here on Raisina Hill. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's editor defense, Abhishek Bhalla, who's joining me on the broadcast. Abhishek, it's a very sad day. We've lost the commanding officer, Colonel Babu. We've lost 20 braves of the Indian Army. But then these braves gave it back to the Chinese. What more can you tell us?
Well, Gaurav, the fatalities are extremely high, as we've been reporting. There are reports that there have been fatalities on the Chinese side as well, but no confirmation on the numbers. The Indian sources are saying that's for the Chinese to do. They are the ones who should come out with a number and tell how many fatalities they've had. But the situation is extremely volatile because of what has happened in the last 24 hours. And that's the reason why the security establishment is keeping a very close watch. In fact, I'm standing right now just outside the Prime Minister's residence, and minutes back, a high-level meeting got over. There were senior ministers who were attending this meeting. So the Prime Minister is being updated on every single, development that's taking place. That's how serious the situation is. There have been a series of meetings in South Block. The service chiefs have been briefing the defense minister. The defense minister in turn is giving updates to the Prime Minister. Each and every development being very, very closely watched. Things are far from normal, and why this comes as a major setback, Gaurav, to the military talks that were happening, because it seems somewhere that China has backstabbed. There were two different meetings at different levels that were taking place yesterday. Both the sides were hopeful. Both sides were hopeful, Gaurav, that disengagement will take place, and it was decided that both sides will move back.
India went with a clean hand.
But
there is a difference.
The armor that was
India went with a clean hand, and China stabbed India in the back. That's very clear. But we are now being told that there are 43 fatalities and casualties on the Chinese side. So these braves of ours gave it as good as they got, and with interest. But look at the Chinese deception and deceit. It continues. Now, before I bring in Lieutenant General Narasimhan and Brahma Chilani, two Indians who know China and Chinese deceit well, I want to quickly bring in India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan, who joins us on the Chinese deceit. Geeta, China talks about peace. China talks sweetly, but it stabbed us in the back when its soldiers attacked our petrol verification party at Galwan.
Well, that's right, and not the first time, Gaurav. We've seen Chinese tactics. We've seen what they do on the ground, and the words and the play of words by the Chinese Foreign Ministry. But again, using the Chinese mouthpieces in Beijing to send out signals of threat to India. So on various levels, there's a template that's in place, and China has been following that. The lies that China has really put out in the name of a statement that has come from the Chinese Chinese Foreign Ministry clearly show that the intentions of Beijing are questionable. They've said that India provoked Chinese forces. India continues to maintain that the status quo had been changed by China, and hence when there was disengagement and dialogue, it led to scuffle and the kind of skirmish that we saw with loss of life on both ends, but a huge loss for India indeed. A wake-up call also in how we should be going back to the drawing board, in how India has to now look at not just handling China, but managing China as well, Gaurav.
These losses are unacceptable. Not to 21st century India, not to India of 2020. No, sir. These soldiers are very precious to us. Colonel Babu and those braves of the Bihar regiment, they're very, very precious lives. We cannot afford to lose them to Chinese treachery. I want to bring into this broadcast General Narasimhan. General Narasimhan, you've dealt with China very, very closely. What would you make of China stabbing us in the back and India's response?
It was rather unexpected in the sense that this kind of a behavior has not been seen on the line of actual control for many years now. And I just, as I tuned into a channel now at this point in time, is the time I came to know the additional casualty that you have mentioned. I'll have to go back and check that. Even without those, the kind of casualties that happened during the incident of yesterday is unacceptable. So this is something that we have to deal with from now onwards, and be prepared to ensure that such casualties do not occur. We need to be prepared at all times.
We need to be prepared at all times is what you're saying. Brahmachalani, does this mean we need to go back, as Geeta Mohan was saying, go back to the drawing board on how we engage with China? Clearly, China is no friend. It's a hostile adversary. Nobody here is hankering for war. Nobody here is saying go to war with China. But it cannot be business as usual with China when we lose 20 lives, 20 braves of us, sir.
Clearly, what has happened is a watershed. It will force India to review its China policy, to reorient its foreign and defense policies. In fact, India has been losing territory to China over the years through China's incremental aggression. Meter by meter, mile by mile, China has been nibbling at Indian territory. But what has happened since late April marks a major escalation on China's part. And last night's confrontation is a consequence of China's naked aggression. You were mentioning stab in the back. India extended the hand of friendship to China. Prime Minister Modi went out of his way to befriend China. And China has repaid that with aggression, brazen aggression in Ladakh. And last night's violent confrontation happened on Indian territory. Galwan Valley is on the Indian side of the line of actual control. And yet, look at the temerity of Beijing. They activated their propaganda machine very quickly this morning and accused India of aggression. They accused Indian forces of trespassing into Chinese territory and provoking the confrontation.
Shameful on the part of the Chinese. Yes. Shameful, unacceptable. General Narasimhan, before I bring in Geeta Mohan once again, General Narasimhan, Galwan Valley is very clearly Indian territory. So here, first the Chinese attack our soldiers, they stab us in the back, and then while they say we want peace and tranquility, they claim the entire Galwan Valley. This just shows that China is completely untrustworthy as a neighbor, as an adversary.
You see, the statement from the Chinese Foreign Office today has mentioned that they have said that the Galwan Valley region is Chinese territory. What they mean by this is something that we need to get a clarification on. And even then, as Mr. Brahmachalani brought out very clearly, that the area is very well known to us, and we know exactly where the LAC runs. The armed forces on the ground knows it very, very clearly. So there is no question on that particular score. Basic thing is, what happened yesterday is something that we need to study a little more in detail and see as to how to handle such situations in future and ensure that casualties do not occur. casualties will occur in such things. So at least we should be able to minimize them to the least possible numbers. That is one. Second thing is, we need to get a move on to this and see as to how we need to resolve this issue. Just by saying China is treacherous is not going to help you to take this forward. So we need to see the outcome of what is happening on ground in the talks that are taking place, and from there we need to take a call as to how to take this further. My reading is that we need to fix this properly and get the disengagement done to status quo ante as it existed in the month of April, and then we need to again think of how to deal with this in future.
No, that is only if we think that the Chinese are honorable people and they want to disengage. All indications, Professor Chilani, are that the Chinese are in no mood to disengage. They lead us up the garden path when we talk about disengagement. They've brought in their artillery, they've brought in their armor, they've brought in troops, and they have escalated. So perhaps it's a very calculated move on the part of the Chinese, while we think it's Hindi Chini bhai bhai, Professor Chilani.
For 39 years, since 1981, they have been taking India round and round the mulberry bush on the larger boundary question. The boundary talks began when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister in 1981. 39 years later, we are still seeking progress in those talks. Similarly, on managing the border, we have signed 5 agreements since 1993, in the last 27 years. And in one stroke, China has shattered those border management agreements. And the current talks on de-escalation are actually an attempt by the PLA to buy time to consolidate its position. So this hope that status quo ante will prevail is a fond hope. I have been saying it for the last month, ever since this crisis began, that the Chinese will not vacate the vantage locations they have seized. And this is exactly what has happened. The confrontation last night happened because the Chinese refused to vacate the Galwan Valley Heights.
Yes.
We believe that through sweet persuasion, we can get the Chinese to withdraw. Sweet persuasion will not work with China. China does not negotiate in good faith.
Oh, absolutely.
We should have known that by now. Unfortunately, with every change of government in India, we try to reinvent the foreign policy wheel, and we go around in circles chasing our fond hopes.
General Narasimhan, Sumdorongchu is one example. Nathula is another example. There are so many examples. When we are strong, Chinese respect our strength. Doklam is one more example. Perhaps this is their revenge for Doklam. How do we deal with the Chinese? Do we engage with them, or while we remain engaged with them, of course we should continue talking to the Chinese. Should we also not outflank the Chinese? Should we not also occupy many heights, and then let's decide, let's negotiate who moves back where?
You see, Gaurav, what we need to look at is what are the alternatives available to us to deal with this situation. One of them could be what you said. I don't know what is being planned on those lines. I'm not aware of it, so I can't commit on that. The other issues that Mr. Brahmacharani brought out, the issue that we need to look at is, it is good to say that yes, you don't trust them, you don't do anything with them, that's fine. But the fact of the matter remains, the alternatives need to be thought about very deeply and very clearly before we take a call and jump into this. That is one. Second thing is, militarily speaking, these situations do happen on the LAC. This is not the first time, though we lost lives for the first time here in this case. The kind of stone throwing, etc., have been happening earlier in Pankung So in 2017 when the Dolam issue was already on. So the issue that comes up is, today we seem to be shedding the weapons and going back to the Stone Age with all this stone throwing and the other using batons and clubs, etc., etc. This is something which is a difference in warfare. This is not the way armies fight in the modern day. So we need to rethink of what we need to do and how do we have to handle these situations. That is something that we need to do a enough study of what has happened in these incidents and then take a call on that. So on both the fronts, you need to make a move.
Okay.
On both the fronts, we need to make a move. and then look at the alternatives and then keep pursuing those alternatives as and when we feel that is the right way to do.
Oh, absolutely. No emotional reactions. React in a very cold, calculated manner, and I'm sure we will. What's our foreign policy thinking? What's the External Affairs Ministry thinking? Geeta Mohan with me on that. Also Abhishek Bhalla on what's the stance that our braves are adopting at the line of actual control. Geeta, to you first. I believe there are a series of meetings. Geeta, a series of meetings at Beijing and in New Delhi. What more can you tell us? What's the thinking?
Well, there have been a series of meetings, like you rightly pointed out. We've seen External Affairs Minister deeply engaged with the leadership here in New Delhi. Vikram Misri, our envoy, was called in. There was a meeting that was requested with the Indian envoy, and he went to meet Luo Zhaohui, Gaurav. And if you remember, he was the envoy, the Chinese envoy to India when the Doklam crisis was taking place.
Yes.
A strong India hand, and therefore now the Vice Foreign Minister who handles India, they had a meeting. The Chinese did protest. Indian side put its view forth in terms of the status quo that China has changed. So a lot of to and fro has happened when it comes to diplomatic engagement between the two sides. But the larger perspective and the larger picture, Gaurav, is China trying to make an opportunity out of a crisis. It's not just India. Look at the aggressive posturing and the aggressive manner in which it has dealt with all the countries where they have had territorial issues, be it Taiwan, the South China Sea, and they're continuing with that. It just so happens that, that they've changed the dynamics when it comes to the India-China landscape.
So Shiv Arur also will join us in just a moment, our consultant editor who's been tracking the story. He's the one who broke the story early this morning. Before I bring Shiv in, Brahmachalani, for far too long, I mean, I've heard it for 2 decades, I'm sure you've heard it for longer. We keep saying the Chinese must not lose face. The Chinese don't like to lose face. Why should we care? We should put our point across effectively. We shouldn't care whether they've lost face or they don't. If they've had 43 casualties, we should put out evidence of Chinese losing having 43 casualties and rub their nose in the ground, sir.
China keeps humiliating India. And this is not the first instance when they've tried to stab India in the back. But I think we should remember one thing. Unless we make China pay a price, they will continue on this path. The current path is cost-free for China. Look at their relationship with India. On one hand, they're raking in growing profits from booming trade with India. Their trade surplus with India is nearly the same as India's total defense spending. Yet at the same time, they're doing everything to contain India. Now, if we allow China to have its cake and eat it too, they will continue on this path. We need to fundamentally change our China policy. We need to use our economic, political, and diplomatic levers. We need to understand that unless we stand up to China in all areas, not just militarily, we need to take on China in all areas, make them understand that there is a price to pay.
Absolutely.
For confronting India. India is not a small country.
Absolutely. China is no friend of India. Professor Brahmachalani, you've hit the nail on its head. They block us at the nuclear suppliers group. They support Pakistan, a terror state. They support Pakistani terrorists at the United Nations. So China is no friend of ours. And General Narasimhan, is it then time for India's comprehensive national power and not just tactical military power at one sector in Ladakh, comprehensive national power be put to use to counter China's aggression, sir?
You see, it is like this. You can't wish away a neighbor. You need to have some kind of talks, etc. going on. On that, I am sure me and Mr. Chalani are on the same page. As far as the other levers are concerned, I am sure the government and the army and the armed forces are actually thinking of how to use these levers to deal with China. So on that count, definitely I'm sure planning must be going on in the ways to handle China and the way they have behaved yesterday. That is something that the official planning and everything will take into account. on the overall, what we need to look at is we should not give in for emotions at this point in time. We should take it calmly, and then we should decide on a proper course of action. Having
Breaking news coming in
whatever
from the line of actual control. I have breaking news coming in. We are being told that there is heightened Chinese helicopter activity at the LAC, and these are medevac or medical evacuation helicopters being used by the Chinese to airlift their casualties suffered in the face-off in the Galwan Valley. This is the information that is coming in. This is, of course, information that's coming in. Increase in Chinese chopper activity observed across the LAC to airlift. Medical evacuation is the word. Medevac, CASVAC, suffered by Chinese troops along the LAC. So, General Narasimhan, this would also hurt China. Hurting India would hurt China. Now it needs to be seen how much pain can the dragon take.
See, this is the point I mentioned in the evening in one of my messages. That, everybody keeps saying that, the Chinese army has done this, Chinese army has done that. I am sure our soldiers are also not very easy to push over. So something I am sure that we would have given them back, as you rightly said. That is, of course, is there. And as I was saying when your message came in, that we need to think through this very coolly, think through the end product, and then take all actions that are necessary to be done.
Okay, India Today's editor defense, Shiv Arur now joins me for more on the story. Shiv, what more can you tell us about Medevac, the situation on ground and casualties on the Chinese side, Shiv?
Gaurav, still no categorical information on casualties as far as the Chinese side is concerned. The Indian side, I can tell you that the Indian Army statement is still expected at this point of time. But we have a pretty clear confirmation from the inside that the Indian casualty figures are said to be in their 20s right now, and that number could actually increase. There are several casualties which have already been counted at the field hospital in that particular area, as well as the general hospital in Leh, where the casualties have been counted. And I'm told that the nature of the injuries means that the numbers could actually go up, Gaurav. So this was way beyond just a clash.
Shiv, stay with me for a moment. There is more breaking news. Yes, Shiv, there's breaking news that's coming in, and this is a statement that's coming in from the army, and Shiv will get us more details on this in just a moment. Indian and Chinese troops have now disengaged at the Galwan area, where they had earlier clashed on the night of 15th and 16th of June 2020. 17 Indian troops who were critically injured in the line of duty at the standoff location and exposed to sub-zero temperatures in the high altitude terrain have succumbed to their injuries, taking the total that were killed in action to 20. Indian Army is firmly committed to protect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the nation. Shiv. Okay, I want to cut across to Abhishek Bhalla, who's breaking the story for us. Abhishek, so now the army has confirmed 20 casualties, fatalities, but they've also said that the Indian and Chinese troops have disengaged at Galwan. What does this disengagement mean?
Gaurav, final confirmation from the army till now. We were hearing this from the sources that the number of casualties, fatalities is 20. Now the Indian Army has put out a statement saying that, in fact, that number is true. As we've been discussing, that they go higher as there are many who were wounded in that brutal clash that took place last evening. As far as the disengagement is concerned, now that's a big problem area, because this disengagement was supposed to take place yesterday itself, Gaurav. That was decided when the meeting between the brigade commander level and the colonel level took place yesterday. But for some reason that did not translate on the ground as far as the Chinese side was concerned. And this is what was the trigger for this clash. Indian troops were outnumbered when they suddenly saw huge numbers coming in. By the time the Indian forces had reinforcements, many were already injured. Probably some would have succumbed to their injuries. But it's then when, there was a full-blown hand-to-hand combat. The weapons, if so-called weapons that were used, were barbed wires, iron rods. The Indian Army has maintained there's been no firing. But with these kind of, weapons that were used, it's enough to make sure that people can get killed. Of course, we heard that some fell off cliffs. All those things really need to be, clarified as far as the army is concerned. But the fact remains that this is an extremely volatile situation. 20 soldiers do not die at the line of control, which sees caliber escalation almost on a daily basis. So this is huge, and how it transpires is anybody's guess. I can tell you, I'm standing outside the Prime Minister's residence just about 10 minutes back. There was a meeting. Yes, Gaurav, I'm coming to that.
General Narasimhan, could this have an impact on India-China relations in other sectors? Could this have an impact, General Narasimhan, in other parts of the LAC? So there's a standoff at Petrol Point 14, 15, 17, Pengong So, elsewhere?
You see, it is like this. It is not only in the, I'm sure the entire LAC now will be a little tense at this point in time to say that if this kind of an event has happened, I'm sure a heightened kind of vigil will be there on the line of actual control, which is quite valid and required at this point in time. And as far as the other issues are concerned, I think we need to be careful. If these are the numbers that have been put out officially, then I think this needs a rethink to see as to how such events should be managed, and the LAC should be kept under a higher state of visit.
Oh, absolutely. Sir, on India Today, we only give facts, and we are very proud of the fact that we are first with the news, the most accurate with the news. General Narasimhan, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. Professor Brahmachelani, as always, a privilege to have both of you on the show on a very, very disturbing day. I quickly now want to cut across to India Today's Preeti Chaudhary. Preeti, it's a very, very sad day for the army that we've lost 20 braves, including the commanding officer, but a sense of pride, because how can a man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? Preeti.
Well, Gaurav, stay on with me. We're going to take this news further because the onus now would be on how will India react. Now, this, viewers, is going to be the acid test, trial by fire for the Indian Prime Minister. We have gone out, we have owned Uri, we have owned Balakot. In this very precarious situation, how is India going to react? Till now, the army has confirmed, and we just want to take our viewers back to that news because this is huge, it's big. The army has confirmed that 20 soldiers from the Indian side have been killed in the violent face-off at the LAC. Now, sources meanwhile confirmed to news agency ANI that on the Chinese side, 43 are either dead or seriously injured. But having said that, I want to once again put the focus on the Indian fatalities we have lost till now. Till now, 20 soldiers. We're going to try and cut across to Rahul Kanwal, our news director, with the latest news break. But I just want to take our viewers through the very latest that is coming in. Earlier on, there was confirmation that what happened last night at the Galwan area in Ladakh, at the LAC, we had lost 3 soldiers, 1 officer and 3 soldiers. But right now, reports are coming in which have completely changed the picture where India is concerned. India has now reported 20 soldiers who have been martyred, and it's counting. Unfortunately, there is news coming in that that number could actually go up. The count of 20 could actually climb up higher. So this is the number that has been reported right now. And I want to cut across right now to our news director, Rahul Kanwal. All right, okay, so he's not there with us, but we're going to get him very soon. But this is the latest news break that we are getting in. Also, there's news coming in that the Prime Minister, the Home Minister have been locked in for a 2-hour-long meeting over the LAC face-off, which ended just about 20 minutes ago. That's the latest news break coming in right now, news that we are just breaking. The latest news that we are breaking right now is that the Prime Minister has just ended a 2-hour-long meeting with the Home Minister. Earlier on, he had met the Defence Minister for a very long meeting alongside the External Affairs Minister. We are going to break that news right now on our television screens. That's the latest that is coming in. I want to now connect right now directly to Gaurav Sawant, our Senior Executive Editor. Gaurav, this is trial by fire for the Indian government. We have gone out on a limb when we have owned Uri, we have owned Balakot. This time around, how will India react? An acid test for the Prime Minister.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now had a series of meetings. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has held meetings with the National Security Advisor, with the Chief of Defence Staff, with the Army Chiefs. With the Army Chief, and what we are now being told is, one, troops have disengaged at Galwan, but that's a very tactical issue. Strategically, China remains very belligerent. China claims the Galwan Valley region, which is very clearly Indian territory. So far in the past, we've seen that India has lost territory to China in their salami slicing. Now they keep moving an inch, a mile. And, since nobody counters them, it becomes the new LAC. Now they are very effectively being countered. We've had fatalities, they've had injuries. We are told 43 injuries on the Chinese side. This, of course, is source-based information just as yet. There have been Chinese medevacs, casualties have been evacuated in helicopters. But where does this go from now? From what I've been told by my sources, the government is saying we will not cede an inch of territory to China. The ball is in China's court, and perhaps there'll be a series of meetings even as India remains alert at the LAC, because you can't trust the dragon anymore.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.